Ladies and gentlemen, fellow lads, it is finally time. Today, we're talking about... I feel like it's been a long time coming for us to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we started the channel well into Season 2's lifespan, like a year and a half ago.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. We never really got around to it. We have covered in other videos talking about our favorite heroes outside of DC and Marvel.
Yep.
But actually, this opportunity getting to dive into a new season as it's finally wrapped up, fresh.
It was peak.
There's nothing else to say.
There is.
There is.
We're about to, Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Together, we're the Comic Lads. And today, we're talking all about Season 3 of...
That joke is gonna get so old so fast.
Funny. Yeah, this season was just such a wild ride. I'm someone who really enjoyed Season 2, but I think they stepped it up, like, big time. Because I remember you were having a harder time getting into Season 2, right?
Yeah, well, like, a little anecdote. I watched Season 1. I love Season 1. Season 2, I felt like I was so tired of the multiverse kind of way of storytelling.
That's
you know, with Angstrom and all that.
Yeah.
That I wasn't too into it, so I didn't even finish the last, like, 2-3 episodes of Season 2.
Yeah, which was crazy to me.
Yeah, until a few weeks ago, I got really sick and I was like, there's nothing else to watch, you know, let me just finish it. And the binge that I've been on has just been glorious since then.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, question of the week. Big disclaimer here. Merlin has not read the comic series.
Yeah, you have.
I have in completion. I love it. I think it's great. But we want to know, what do you guys think? Should Merlin read the comic series before the next season or the next few seasons? Or should he keep himself in the dark and experience the show first? What do you guys think?
Yeah, this has been a debate between the both of us because I'm seeing all the stuff for the first time.
Yeah.
In each episode, you know what I mean? And some of the surprises have just been fucking bonkers.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Especially in Season 3. Like, the shit that we get. Like, I remember in episode 7, we watched together, and then at the end, you're like, oh, dude, you're not ready for the next episode. Like, the fight with Conquest. And I'm like, I have no idea what it's going to be like, you know?
Yeah.
But should I read the book? Should I get caught up, or should I continue experiencing for the first time?
Yeah, I'm very conflicted on that question because, like, me personally, everyone's going to, like, explode in the comments now. I like the show a lot more than the book. I think it recontextualizes everything better. I think it's a lot tighter. I think it's a lot more hard-hitting. A lot of the emotional beats hit a lot more with the show and the performances that we get from Steven Yeun and the rest of the cast.
And also, second question of the week, obviously, let us know your thoughts on Season 3 down below.
For sure.
And for those of you that have read the books, please refrain from spoilers in the comments.
Yeah, we know that the Invincible fandom is one of the most spoiler-happy fandoms out there, but let's try and keep it on the down low for people. We're just talking about the show today.
Yeah. Have respect for your fellow lad.
Yes.
Let's keep the passion for the show and the comic book alive. And before we get into the main discussion, guys, don't forget to smash the like button. It really helps us out. And consider subscribing.
Become a fellow lad.
Alright, dude. Season 3, there's so much to unpack here.
There's so much shit that happened this season.
There's so much. There's only, 8 episodes?
Yeah.
That's what I love about this show, is that the pacing, it, like, never lets up. There's never, like, a dull moment. Even the kind of slower paced scenes, they're still very engaging.
I agree.
To start off, one thing that I really liked this season was seeing the kind of erosion of Cecil and Mark's professional partnership.
It was really tough to see because Cecil has become one of my favorite characters in the show. Walton Goggins does a ridiculous job voicing him. He's so incredible. Like, you can't help but agree with him sometimes, you know?
Yeah, but you can also see both sides because
sure.
Throughout Season 1 and Season 2, I especially always felt a kind of unnerving feeling with Cecil.
Yes.
Like, he really plays that kind of Nick Fury type caricature really well, where you know he always knows more than he lets on, and he's always having everyone in the dark except for the people that matter most.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Starting back early last season, when fights that kaiju underwater, Cecil's like, oh, have the lab boys doctor that sound. I'm like, why?
Because at one point in this season, in season 3, Mark actually turns against Cecil.
Yep. Well, he turns on him because he finds out that Cecil's been using D.A. Sinclair's Reanimen, which, like, in Mark's POV is like an extreme violation.
Yeah, and he also finds that he implanted a fucking sonic
yeah.
buzzer in his head. Yeah, that was crazy, dude.
Yeah, that is diabolical. Like, when their fallout started, I felt that Mark was, like, a little too aggressive. Like, he was very scary, and I genuinely, like, understood Cecil's fear in that whole confrontation. But then when you find out that he put a fucking, like, sonic bomb in this kid's head, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's really bad. But I will say, one episode I really enjoyed this season was the backstory of Cecil.
Yes.
Oh my god, that caught me so off guard.
Yeah, because it helps you understand where he's coming from.
Exactly, and you get to see that he hasn't always been this very cynical, jaded, untrusting person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He started off with like optimism, and throughout whatever happened in his professional career, that slowly dissolved.
Yeah, and he was indoctrinated to believe that we can be the good guys or we can be the guys that save the world. We can't be both.
Absolutely.
And that is like, that's a tough mental hurdle to make.
You can understand whatever Cecil does, you know it's for the good of quote-unquote mankind and protecting Earth.
It's just like, how diabolical can the means be before the ends become like unjustifiable?
Yeah, and those means are exactly what separate and Cecil. Starting off the season, they actually have a very strong partnership.
Yes.
Cecil's training Mark, you know, Mark is benching like the way to the moon and shit. It's
So sick.
so badass. Getting to see Mark actually break away from that and kind of fly on his own, no pun intended, is very nice to see in the second half of the season.
It is, and it feels like he's finally growing up, because it feels like Cecil and the GDA has been a safety net for him for the last 2 seasons, and they still are in the big moments of this season, but you're right, it does really feel like he's on his own and he has to make his own decisions.
One part of this show...
This is where he has to make a lot of decisions.
Yeah. I am not certain I like Oliver. Again, guys, I have not read the books. I don't know what the future holds. Dude, is this kid fucking psychotic or not? I can't tell.
Listen, I'm gonna say, in the show, he's better. He's like
Really?
even more fucked up from what I remember in the book, after he's killed the Mauler twins, which rip to my boys.
Are they permanently dead? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell us. No spoilers.
Yeah, no.
That scene,
I was so depressed.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then like watching Oliver try to justify why they should be dead. Like, oh, they're bad guys. We need to make sure they don't get back up again. Kind of like the Punisher Daredevil dilemma.
Yeah.
From season 2.
By the way, in that scene, did Immortal do anything? Did Immortal do anything this whole season?
Immortal, like, doesn't do anything,
Sucks.
dude. All he does is, like, bang multicate or whatever. Duplicate. And fucking, like, he wants to retire this entire season. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, no. We're talking about Oliver. Oliver gives huge Damien vibes, which for us is, like, really bad.
Yeah. I will say the second half of the season, when he's getting kind of those more stern talking to by Debbie and Mark about, like, you know, we don't kill people. I really like that scene with him. I feel like he's still
a little ratty, like he's still a little like sick in the head, but I think he is trying to be a better little brother and a better son.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I can't really blame him either. He's like a year old.
He's a year old and his dad is Omni-Man.
Yeah. And he was raised by his dad before he came to Earth,
Yes.
you know, even though he was technically a baby.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what they do with Oliver. I do like that he's kind of in a mentor role.
Yes.
With him as Kid Omni-Man, you know what I mean?
That's also another thing that's like forcing him to grow up this season, even though he's still like 19. One thing that I thought they kind of glossed over in this season, at least at the start of it, was Mark and Eve finally getting together, which I'm fine with. It was like, it feels like the show and the fans were just like, okay, no, they're together. It's fine. Like let's just get them together because we have all this shit to cover next.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm happy. I've wanted them together since season 1.
I did like the drama, though, where he sees an alternate future version of her.
Yes.
That basically tells him, look, I lost my Mark.
And I never got over it.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that you don't fumble the bag, bro. Like,
well, don't fumble the bag, or just like tell me that there's no bag to be fumbled.
yeah,
at
exactly.
least.
And I do like that creates conflict when he like so stupidly admits to her.
Dumbass.
Like, oh my god, like I am asking you out, and like I'm so glad I am because, you know, this future version of you was telling me to like not fumble my chance.
And I love that moment too, where like in the middle of that argument, Cecil calls them to go fight a supervillain, and he just goes,
This better be fucking cataclysmic.
Yeah.
So good.
I know. Cecil's also like the ultimate cockblock throughout the show.
The biggest.
Yeah, he's like just the worst.
Bro, season 1, Amber was chilling in Mark's room. Cecil teleported in the... What?
Yeah.
Bro.
I will say another standout episode. We briefly mentioned Immortal earlier.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, where goes to the future.
Yeah.
To like help what he thinks is like a really corrupt government that has like a chokehold on the world.
Yeah, and there's like a dictator who was unnamed at the beginning of the episode, and like we see silhouettes of him murdering people with like superpowers, and we're like, is this a Vitrumite? Is this like old Mark? Is this like an old Nolan that's come back? And then you get there and it's like, Immortal? What the fuck?
And Immortal at this point, you know,
He's gone insane.
yeah, with his namesake, you know, he's lived far too long. His mind has slowly eroded.
It's so sad, man.
It is really, it's so fucked too when Mark is like, what are you talking about? Like, you and Duplicate just got engaged, and he's like, who is she?
Is that the one with the red hair? Like, damn, bro.
He doesn't even remember her. Yeah, and Mark ends up kind of like mercy killing him.
He does.
Which I think is the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do, but it's really fucked for Mark. Because as we learn later in the season, Angstrom's still alive. So killing Immortal is his first real kill.
Yeah.
And he's helpless. And he just like, it's so shit for him because he's like, I don't want to do this. And I literally have to. Like, thanks, guys. And then in that same episode, we get a crazy fucking revelation because Nolan and Alan finally break out of the Vitrumite prison, and Nolan reveals that there are only 50 pure-blooded Viltrumites left alive in the universe. And you're like, is this shit maybe winnable?
I will say, I love how they built Nolan and Alan's friendship over the course of the season. I mean, they weren't in too much of this season.
Yeah.
But the times that they were, they just stole the show. And like, Seth Rogen as Alan is just
Perfect.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I love Alan's character. I also like how Alan is kind of a tank now.
He's massive, and he's already clearing Viltrumites. Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
I can't wait to see more of him.
Me too.
In terms of other partnerships, seeing Mark and Eve, you know, we touched on their relationship briefly, but seeing them actually work together and fight together as partners.
Yeah, and form Inc.
Oh my god, dude.
So much fun.
Like that one episode, was it when they're fighting like the kind of dragon?
Yeah, Mr. Liu, yeah.
Yeah, and like Adam Eve like fucking puts the armor on herself and they just comboed.
sick.
Like Eve got a fucking power up.
It feels like they're finally giving her scenes like in her solo special.
Oh my god.
You know?
That was sick.
where she was just the most cracked character in the Invincible universe.
Yeah, and I like that they're finding more creative ways to use her powers,
Agreed.
other than just like putting up some walls and like, you know, prison type constructs around her enemies. We're gonna get into more of the episode 8 in a bit, but seeing her like make the density of the oxygen around Conquest in episode 8 heavier,
So fucking cool.
it's so cool, man.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, but guys, we're in the nitty gritty now. We're talking about the final 3 episodes of this season, which were like 3 of the most like colossal bangers in a row ever.
I think they're arguably the 3 best episodes of maybe even the entire series.
They might be, yeah.
Yeah.
We're starting with Powerplex. Dude, Aaron Paul, he can't keep getting away with it. You're so good.
He might have given top 3 best voice performances in this entire show.
It was unbelievable, and it was so raw and gut-wrenching, and it managed to sell me on the Powerplex character. Because just reading the book a few years ago, I was like, this guy is so stupid. He's so unlikable. He's so annoying. Like, in the book, bro, fucking, he fries his family. He's literally, I'm pretty sure he goes like, you killed them. I'm like, are you fucking nuts, bro?
Yeah.
But they made it work in this show.
Yeah,
Gut-wrenching.
the way that this like quest for revenge just consumes his life and eventually just leads his loved ones to fucking get burnt to a crisp in front of him. It was gut-wrenching.
It was, and I think it was such a great choice for them to kind of make the whole episode from his perspective. So you're kind of like feeling for him, but in the end, like, he's too far gone.
Yeah.
He's completely off his rocker. This is not his fault.
Definitely. All right, the next second banger episode, the War.
This episode was a fucking roller coaster. Steven Yeun as like 18 different Marks.
Yeah, and each one somehow sounded distinct.
Like completely different.
I know.
He was flexing on us.
Yeah, his voice acting chops too. I feel like they skyrocketed from season 1. Like even season 1 he was amazing, but season 3 you get to see an entire different range.
Every season he just gets like exponentially better.
Yeah, and the Invincible War was just so brutal. Seeing these Marks like basically decimate Earth.
It was really scary to see, and I think it's going to have some bad implications on Mark for the next couple seasons of the show. A lot of people heard what Powerplex was saying at the end of that episode, where he's like, it's all in fault. Everyone was looking at him like, yeah, kind of was.
Well, I mean, it's hard to differentiate like a different alternate version of the same guy, you know, that's protecting and causing destruction.
Yeah, and even if you make that distinction, if you just connect a few dots, like they are still here because of Mark.
I will say Angstrom has got to be in the list of like top biggest haters.
Biggest haters. He's up there with Reverse Flash.
Yeah, it is crazy how big. He's so petty.
I know. He's so like has forgotten his original mission. Completely.
And the fact too that he's like hates and but somehow is only targeting like the only good one he's ever found is just crazy.
Yeah, it's such irony. We gotta talk about our boy, dude, Rex.
Oh my god.
This shit hurt in the comic and it hurt in the show.
I couldn't believe it when it happened. And I was like, wait, he's coming back, right? Like,
it's like, bro, he exploded a skeleton. He's like, no, but he's fine, right?
It just sucked for me because in this season particularly, they take his character to heights that he's never been at. He finally matures.
He's about to start maybe a happy life with Shrinking Ray.
Yeah, and he becomes, from what used to be one of my least favorite characters in season 1, to arguably maybe even my favorite. I don't know. Like, he became badass, he became morally righteous.
Took out a fucking Mark. Disintegrated him.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
Justice for our boy.
But getting into the season finale,
oh my god,
we've all been waiting for this moment. This might have been one of the greatest animated show episodes
that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
This whole episode was peak from start to finish.
Yeah.
It was like the definition of peak. The animators saved all their money for this episode, and it was 100% worth it.
Dude, this show, like, there's been lots of complaints about the animators. Even me, like, there's some points where it's like, come on, guys, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, cut out PNGs and moving backgrounds and shit.
Yeah.
But seeing this episode and the way every fucking frame poured with passion from the animators, like even the way that like Mark's hair would animate and flow in the wind.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean? And it had so many echoes of like Japanese animation in it.
Yes. Every artist on this show deserves $1 million bonus, a pay raise. They are fucking goated.
Whatever effort they put in, whether it was long hours or absolute dedication to their craft, it paid off in this episode.
It did, and this was one of the coolest fights I've ever seen.
This was like the most visceral, heart-pounding fight I've seen in any superhero action media ever, I think.
I know, like, just, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was so disgusting as Conquest, like, perfect casting.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, great voice.
Can I just say, one thing that, like, was so disturbing for me, like, even more so than in the book, was when he, like, almost rips Oliver in half.
Dude,
Jesus Christ.
I have never been on my, like, the edge of my seat more than I was that scene. Because you can hear, like, the sound designers, you know, putting in the muscle tissue tearing along with Conquest, like, narration of it.
Disgusting.
And it was also, like, a kind of, like humbling moment for Oliver, too. You know what I mean? Because this whole season has been so cocky. And then that one sequence where he gets punched by Conquest and then just spits out all these bloody teeth.
Oh, it's so awful, man. Like, there was a lot of, like, child violence in this episode.
Yeah, but
it's really whack.
It was great. It really illustrated, like, the brutality of the Vitrumite.
Yeah, and how real and not a joke the superhero game is. Because, like, Oliver feels like he has it on lock.
Another highlight from this episode, I gotta say, like, at a certain point during Mark and Conquest fight, Eve shows up.
Oh my god.
Dude, the animators, once again, like, it was such a badass couple minutes with her, even though it was short.
I know, when she makes the armor. You know what was so sick, too? You mentioned already the shifting the density of the air, but when she encases Conquest in a bubble and then turns it into water, like fucking Dumbledore, bro, it was crazy.
That was awesome. I mean, it was the creators really pushing the limits of her powers. And for a second during that fight, I'm like, maybe she can handle business right now. You know what I mean?
And then he rips her face off and punches through her entire torso.
Yeah. And then Mark gives that fucking line where he's like,
I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how fast you are. I can see the future. You don't live to see tomorrow.
yeah, with tears streaming down his eyes, and you can see the hatred and the passion. And I was like, this is the moment where I was like, okay, like Stephen Young deserves, I'm the penguin, deserves a fucking like Emmy nomination or something for this voice act.
100%. And when he starts fucking battering him and then Eve comes back with like a fucking like Captain Atom power up, she torched Conquest.
Is his skin fully peeled off?
Yeah, that's his muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah.
I think she like burnt his dick off.
Crazy. Oh, can I just say, this episode, watching Mark slowly lose each limb, but then like finding ways to still fight using his remaining limbs was so badass.
So sick. And then like his lines when he's headbutting Conquest and he's like, "You enjoying yourself? Still having fun?" You can hear he's like so unhinged and feral. Oh my god, man. Stephen Young is the fucking goat.
Yeah. And then, of course, fucking ending the episode and the season, Cecil not telling Mark
This is Cecil's worst move in the entire show.
And Cecil's made a lot of bad moves.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
This is the dumbest shit of all time.
It can't end well.
What does he think's gonna happen? Bro, he's gonna break out of that shit in less than 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, and he just knows it's going to be a situation where he's going to be recuperating his strength until a prime moment to strike back.
Yes, I agree.
I'm scared for season 4, but excited. I can't wait. I can't fucking wait,
my God,
dude.
it's gonna be absurd. And we got a tease that like Damien Darkblood is coming back from season 1, the demon detective.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking what? Because that's not even in the book. This is like an unused story that never made it into the book that they're bringing into the show. I'm so amped. I don't know where it's gonna fit because like I feel like there's just so much shit for us to do next season.
Yeah, and they also set up like that kind of Starro villain.
Yes, the Sequids are coming back. Hopefully for the last time because it's like I'm kind of sick of them.
Yeah,
this season was like a 10 out of 10 for me. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was a 10 out of 10 too. The last episode like
solidified its place up there.
Its greatness has been like the bar has been raised.
Yeah, and I think like it's cemented now like as an all-time superhero show.
Yeah.
But that's it for this video, guys. And what a ride. We love talking about Invincible. Can't wait to make videos about season 4 when it inevitably comes out next year.
Oh, and let us know also if you want us to go back and cover season 1 and season 2.
Yeah, we'll do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. It helps us out like you wouldn't believe. Subscribe if you haven't already. Become one with the comic lads.
And we love you.
We love you.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.